grab a helmet. This fits the bike nicely. The traffic helmet with the light on the back. All right, turn this thing on. Input password. There we go, we are off. Oh, I gotta raise the seat height. So I have reviewed a bike from Tenways before, and I remember that I quite liked it. Even though a commuter bike may not be my personal first choice of fun bikes. I like power. I like power. And power is not really the focus of the Tenways brand. Their focus is more on lightweight. It is on reliability, simplicity, and probably sleek looks. And then I'd also say quality, but not power. Let's crank this thing up to 5. So this is a motor rated at 350 watts, which is not a whole lot compared to a lot of bikes that I normally review. I suppose the question is it enough? I'm gonna have to take it up a few steep hills and see if I can make it. Now, bear in mind that I still don't have a lot of strength. Normally, I prefer a bike with a throttle. This bike doesn't have a throttle. This is only pedal assist. This is a class 1 bike. You have a torque sensor, and remember how I said simplicity, reliability? So on the plus side, that means they are using a Gates carbon belt drive. There's no chain, there's no derailleur, there's no lubrication, no mess. But also something I would like to have, honestly, is no gears. So this bike may not be ideal in the hills of Grass Valley when you have someone with weak legs, me, and here. If this was flat and you want to get a little bit of exercise, this bike might be perfect. If you live in an apartment complex on the 2nd floor and you got to carry your bike up a flight of stairs when you're at home, this bike might be perfect. I think they said on their website it was 51 pounds with all of the accessories. Now, I don't know when they say all accessories, if that includes the battery charger. So the bike is very stable, as you can see. We're coasting down a hill. Hey, I'm doing just about the speed limit. I hit a couple of small bumps there. I do have front suspension. One thing I gotta say about this bike is it is very efficient. I am cruising along right now, and I haven't even used the motor for a little while because the bike rolls really nice. Hello. It's running on 700C rims, so that's kind of a road bike diameter, same as a 29er. Hello, cat. That's a little bit of a hill. I'm not having to stand up on the pedals. So if you want efficiency, low weight, low rolling resistance, and a workout, this bike has got you covered. I don't know if I signed up for the workout though. Okay, so this is a little bit steep. I'm gonna have to stand up. I got the pedal assist all the way up. So it does it with my help. But again, you have no choice but to put some effort in on this bike because it has a torque sensor only. With a cadence sensor, you can pretend to pedal. It's not an option here. You have to put some actual effort in to get the power out of this bike. And you can't just sit back and hit the throttle, just not an option. In all fairness, I will say not having a throttle on this specific bike with this motor and this battery, as much as I may not like never having a throttle, is the right choice. Because they're going for efficiency and lightweight. This is 36-volt battery and capacity is 10 amp hours. So if you had a throttle on this, you're gonna suck that battery down kind of quick. And realistically, going up a hill, it's not gonna do it on just throttle. You have to pedal. So it kind of doesn't make a difference too much. The only time a throttle would be useful on this bike is if you had a long flat stretch of road and didn't want to pedal. Really, it rolls so smoothly and easily on flat ground. You know, you barely got to pedal and this thing just rolls. Very, very nice. I am regularly getting up over the 20-mile-an-hour limit this thing has, solely because it rolls so smooth. At least when the road's smooth. Now this road up here is full of potholes. In fact, while I'm stopped here, let's bring the camera in a little tighter, because these potholes might knock it loose. I'm gonna make sure this is tight. So far, the bike is quiet. I just hear the very light ratcheting mechanism in the rear hub. The motor is a geared hub motor, but with the low power, the 350 watts, it's not noisy at all. Almost indistinguishable from just tire noise. Of course, the belt doesn't make any noise at all. So the screen on this is very bright and vibrant. Actually, it's one of the better looking displays I've seen, I think. It really makes the bars really simple because you have no throttle to deal with, no shifting to deal with. All we've got are a couple of buttons to turn the lights on. You have a bell, up and down for the pedal assist. I have a mode button. And looks like if I press the mode button while riding, nothing happens. That's only for settings. I want to say they said something like 50 miles of range. Might seem like a lot for such a small battery capacity, but that's actually kind of realistic in this case because you have to pedal all the time. The bike's light and it rolls really nice. So I would not be surprised if you could actually do 50 miles. Now for braking, they are using some Tektro hydraulic disc brakes. They're more than enough for the speeds this thing can go. I did say that it has front suspension. It's a Sun Tour front fork, so it's a name brand fork, which is nice. What's not as nice is that there's no adjustment to it. It's just is what it is, which is not terrible since this is just a commuter bike. It's not like you're taking this on a trail and you need to adjust things. The only reason you'd want to adjust it is for rider weight. Now we see what it can do up a hill. I am feeling the burn. What I'm gonna do is go up a really steep hill here in town and see if I can make it. I know I'm gonna be standing up on the pedals. The question is, can I get to the top without pushing myself physically too hard? For those that don't know, I have a weird medical condition that is undiagnosed, and I cannot push myself physically too hard without severe side effects. So I have to just kind of feel it out and see if it's something I can do or not. And I'm feeling it a little bit already. If I can make it up this hill, then that means this bike, despite being 350 watts, has enough power and torque that I think the average person could ride this around and be happy with it. If I can't make it up, then I'm gonna say this bike is nice, it's great, However, it's gonna be limited to flat riding areas. And I wouldn't recommend it if you live in a lot of hills. So that's what we're going for. Oh boy, this is getting steeper. So I'm 150 pounds. I'm putting all my weight on the pedals with every stroke. Oh. And I'm struggling with this gearing and this power. I'm gonna interrupt this hill with a dyno run so you can see how much torque and wattage it's got. It's a little hard to test a bike on the dyno that doesn't have a throttle. I've done this once before and we got some pretty decent results. So I'm gonna do it on this one again. We get on the bike, pedal it, get a baseline number of my input, then do the dyno run with me pedaling, because I have to make the motor run, and then subtract the difference. So let's, I guess, get my input first and see what I'm at. And there's no gears on this thing. Okay, so I tried to put in a nice consistent effort. I put in 181 watts, 9.2 pound-feet of torque. So we're gonna subtract those from whatever numbers I get next. Boost mode, here we go. And so I'm just trying to repeat the same effort as close as I can. It's gonna be a ballpark, but it'll work.
What kind of camera is that?
It's a Insta360. So I like those for, they film everything in every direction. Yeah. Don't worry, I'm only recording what's on this side, so you're not on camera. So.
And I'm having a bad hair day.
So.
Hey, at least you have hair.
It's got a point there. All right, so I've done the math, and keep in mind, this is an estimate. I'm not gonna get perfect results because it's hard to pedal exactly the same every time. And I gotta answer the phone, that's what I got. Hello, this is Kyle. So there's the final numbers I got after the math. About 624 watts, 13.3 pound-feet of torque, which is gonna put it at the lowest spot I've ever had on the board. But that's still not a bad thing because they do only advertise this as 350 watts, and we're getting not double the power, but substantially more. So it's performing pretty good for what it is. Oh, so am I. I'm just not cheating as much.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, so I almost made it. I decided to call it quits. I decided to call it quits. The slurring or mixing up my words is a sign that I'm wearing out. So that was as much as I could push the bike for me. So if you're super strong and don't mind pedaling a lot up the hills, you could get one of these. But I am personally gonna recommend that this is a great bike if you live in a flat area. So medium-sized rolling hills, totally fine. If you live in a place like Grass Valley, San Francisco, something like that, you might be wanting a little bit more power. That's my opinion. So what I like about the bike is the lightweight. I like the low rolling resistance. You do get a few pedal strokes, and if you got even the slightest downhill, then it just starts to go. It rides basically like a bicycle. You could ride this thing around on flat ground with the motor off if you want to. Final thoughts on this thing. Here's that suspension fork. Like I said, nice big 700C wheels. They're from CST, really wide. I actually didn't have any complaints. If you want a commuter bike that is comfortable, but low rolling resistance, great. Actually worked quite nice for that. Told you the display was nice and vivid and bright. Actually, I think I have the screen protector on there still. I need to peel that off. It's even clearer now. I don't know that it's necessarily any brighter. I got this all over my fingers now. Trip meter, odometer. We got the pedal assist settings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do like that they say eco, normal, tour, sport, power, whatever, boost, but they also have the number. I prefer having a nice big clear number. There's the bell that comes on it. Power button. Got the light button. Let me probably have to hold this, is my guess. Yep, there we go. So that turns the headlight on. Look at that. It has turn signals. I honestly didn't even catch that. That makes sense. See, this one's shining to the left, this one's shining to the right. So if you hold the top one, you get the lights on, but then you can also use these as turn signals, and it has an indicator on the display. That is quite fancy. So just took me a minute to figure out that's what it was. So it's a very sleek design. All their bikes are very clean. No welds showing. Here is the belt drive. This is a genuine Gates carbon belt drive. So this is name brand components and parts being used on here. The frame is designed so that you can tension it properly without having to need a tensioner hanging down here. So it's very clean, very minimal maintenance on this thing. So I do like those aspects about it. This is a bike that you don't have to worry about lubricating the chain, very easy to keep clean, and there's really not a lot to break. Of course, the bike comes all set up with fenders in the rear rack. This is, of course, a integrated tail light with the turn signals and everything there. The handlebars are swept back nicely. It's a very upright, comfortable riding position. I wouldn't change anything on them personally, which is a good thing because the screen is kind of integrated into the stem. So the only way to change kind of your cockpit setup is if you were to change the bars out, but I'm pretty happy with these. They have a pretty nice sweep back to them. Something I didn't mention is that there are more features to this display if you use their app. You can bring up things like navigation and put directions on the screen itself. And one thing I like about that, they mentioned on their website, is that you don't have to have your phone mounted up on the handlebars. So for a lot of bikes that have navigation or an app, you have to have your phone mounted up on the bars and have the app open and running, but they said you do not. Because of how the app works, I assume it can kind of either run in the background. I don't know what you call that in a technical phone speak, but basically you can put your phone in your pocket and you're not gonna lose your maps and directions that you've pulled up. That's a nice little touch. It's just something that bugs me when I try to use apps for other bikes. The bikes do come in a few different colors. They've got a nice blue. I've got the just straight black here, and then there is a gray. And I think I can't stress enough how nice the quality is. These are just very well put together bikes, very seamless, very clean. So those are things that you would appreciate when you get one of these. Now that does reflect in the price a bit. These are not your budget commuter bikes. The quality really is a step above. And so you're gonna pay a little bit of a premium for it. These are $19.99, but I do think the price is fair given the carbon belt drive, the nice screen app setup, the hydraulic brakes, and just the overall build quality. I don't know if everybody is going to agree that those things are worth it, but that's okay. They aren't targeting everybody with this bike. They want people that want that high quality commuter bike. I'll put a link in the description to the Tenways website. I do think they make some of the nicest, cleanest commuter bikes. So if that's what you're looking for, definitely go check them out.